How's it going, everyone? Blueknight here, and welcome back to another Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time video. So, Crash 4, the Orange Marsupial's first entirely brand new adventure that fans have been waiting nearly 12 years for, is finally releasing in less than a week on both the PS4 and the Xbox One. And my hype for this game is through the roof. Especially after that absolutely amazing launch trailer that just dropped a short while ago, which I did do a full breakdown of that trailer if you're interested in checking that out. But with that said, I want to give you guys a fair warning. This video will be my last video regarding the game until about a week after the game's launch, as to avoid spoiling you guys when it comes to story details and stuff like that. Yes, we did get some spoilers from Game Informer recently regarding the intro cutscene, but I'm not going to be discussing that nor anything else really spoilerly in this video. Instead, I'm just going to go back through everything that we've learned about the game over the past few months, including the recently announced multiplayer mode, which I did talk about in my previous video, but now we have footage for it, so I will be talking about that later on in the video. And basically what I'm doing today is just compiling everything that we know into this one big video, which is, well, today's video. So if you've been living under a rock all this time and simply want to get up to speed on what's been going on with Crash 4, then this video is most certainly for you. But if you don't want to be spoiled on anything whatsoever and just want to go into the game completely blind, then I recommend clicking off of this video right now. Nevertheless, let's get right into today's video. So right off the bat, the game is selling at the full price of $59.99 US and is being developed by Toys for Bob on the Unreal Engine 4, just like the Spyro Reignited trilogy, which Toys for Bob worked on previously, with Reignited's lead artist, Nicholas Cole, also returning for Crash 4, who's also responsible for these fantastic character redesigns that we're going to see in Crash 4, with Beanox, the developers behind Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, being a supporting development studio on the project for the game's brand new inverted mode, which is basically a souped up take on a mirror mode where each level has a different appearance to represent alternate dimensions, like a futuristic underwater world, Snow Way Out but in a comic book style, and worlds completely devoid of color, that are essentially revived by splattering paint wherever you go. These are just a few examples of what you can expect in inverted mode. Inverted mode also features a new type of berry called Wumpa berries. The role of these berries are exactly the same as the traditional Wumpa fruits. Collecting 100 in retro mode will grant you extra lives, but collecting enough of these in either modern or retro mode can earn you up to 3 gems, which is indicated by these bars located under the Wumpa fruit Wumpa berry counter. There are a total of 6 gems in each level, both the normal levels and the inverted mode levels. The other 3 gems are obtained in a way you would expect from the series, like breaking all of the crates, finding the hidden gems, or simply not dying too much. The role of gems in this game is quite simple, as collecting them unlocks skins for both Crash and Coco, with some of them referencing previous games in the series, like the Biker Crash skin for instance, while others represent the respective level that they're unlocked in, like the Coco Pirate skin. Heck, there's even a retro Crash skin that can be unlocked for a more classic experience. As of right now, it's not confirmed to be a PS4 exclusive skin, like the retro skins in CTR Nitro Fueled, but what has been confirmed is that there will be about 26 unlockable skins in total. No clue if that includes the totally tubular skins for buying the game digitally, or the timed PS4 exclusive Marsupial Rectus and Serious Upgrade skins. We'll just have to wait and see on those. But these 2 skins will be coming to the Xbox One and other unconfirmed platforms on December 31st, 2021 upon completing the second level. Now, speaking of Crash 4 coming to other platforms, an Activision representative has stated that we are still evaluating additional platforms for a future date. So for all of you Switch and PC owners out there you go. Crash 4 is coming to those platforms, most likely late next year. The game's music is being scored by Walter Mayer, I really hope I pronounced that correctly, who previously did music for the mobile Call of Duty games amongst other titles, and he's doing an absolutely fantastic job on this game's soundtrack. It's really good, as it definitely gives off that classic Crash vibe, but also throwing in some Spyro along with some 8-bit effects sprinkled in. The game's story is being written by Mandy Beninav. Again, I hope I pronounced that correctly. And just like the music, the story, from what we've officially seen at least, far exceeds what was done in any previous Crash game, albeit taking a page from those games' books, just taken up a big notch, combined with some really expressive animations and inspiration from Looney Tunes, which I absolutely love by the the way, Crash 4 is shaping up to easily be the best Crash story and game to date, just for these reasons alone. We also got Cortex singing. That's a perfect 10 in my book, but we're not done just yet because we still got the quick story summary and some other stuff to talk about. And don't worry, no story spoilers here, just what we've known ever since the game's reveal back in June, and or stuff from the official trailers and such. The game picks up right after Crash 3 Warped, where Uka Uka, Cortex, and Intrippy are still stuck on this distant asteroid. They finally escape by creating an evil scientist-sized hole in the space-time continuum, and now they seek to take control of the multiverse. But not without a challenge from Crash, Coco, and Aku Aku in their quest to find and rescue the quantum masks in order to fix the damage that was done to the multiverse. There are 4 masks in total, each having a unique ability to help Crash and Coco throughout various levels, each of them being able to manipulate time and space. Kapunawa can slow down time, allowing you to jump on nitro crates and get past really fast obstacles that are otherwise impossible to cross with just Crash and Coco. Ika Ika can flip gravity, allowing Crash and Coco to go from walking on the floor to walking on the ceiling to avoid various obstacles and solve puzzles. Lanny Lowly can face objects and obstacles in and out of reality, making for some very unique challenges, provided you don't accidentally phase into an object that you're jumping into. And then there's Akano, who harnesses the power of dark matter, causing Crash and Coco to violently spin, reflect enemy projectiles, soar over long distances, and break metal boxes without having to stop and slam them. Along the way, we'll meet an alternate dimension version of Tana, who is a playable character and has basically become the hero of her own dimension when Crash could not. No spoilers, but I'm taking it that something bad happened to them, just going by her reaction when Coco asks about their alternate dimension selves. Moving on, she's essentially watching out for both Crash and Coco as their guardian angel. Tana can use a grappling hook-like device called the hookshot, allowing the player to traverse long gaps, break crates, activate switches, and deal with smaller enemies from a distance. Dingodile is another playable character in the game, who now has a vacuum cannon that can suck up crates and even TNT to shoot out at enemies and obstacles blocking his path. His story is that after the events of Crash 3 Warped, Dingo retired from a life of villainy, hung up his flamethrower rocket launcher combo, and started a diner, which unfortunately gets destroyed in his introduction level, and he's basically looking for whoever did this, and winds up accidentally getting sucked into another dimension. Dr. Cortex is also a playable character, although his levels are a bit more challenging than Crash or Coco's. Cortex can change various creatures into either floating blocks or floating bouncing blocks to solve puzzles. Depending on how many times you hit them will determine what they'll turn into. These timeline levels show how certain things happen in levels that interconnect with Crash and Coco's story. For example, in the Ship Happens level, yes, ship happens, everyone. Ship happens. We see how Cortex unsuccessfully tried sending Crash down with the ship, but blows the whole thing. Literally, by accidentally sneezing and triggering it too early. Better luck next time, Cortex. Now, these levels are optional after completing the introduction level for each character. These levels are indicated by squares on the dimensional map, while the core Crash and Coco levels are indicated by circles. But what is the dimensional map, you might be wondering? Well, according to Toys for Bob, it functions like Crash 1's island maps, where you progress from one level to the next in a linear fashion, instead of needing a certain number of crystals to progress through the game like Crash 2 and 3, therefore making for smoother story progression. But speaking of crystals, there are actually no crystals in this game, like at all. At least if we go by all the footage that we've seen so far, then yeah, they're pretty non-existent, despite being brought up by Tana in her intro cutscene, which I think was kind of a subtle way of poking fun at the original trilogy, to be honest. But what is in the game are time trials, and just like how they worked in the Insane trilogy, you try to get your best time and you get a relic. Either sapphire, gold, or platinum can be earned. Assumably, they will be required to get access to a secret ending, which is classic Crash right there. You can't get much better than that. However, there's a new twist this time around, as these time trials will have something called trial ghosts, which, if you've played CTR Nitro Fueled, you'd know that these help you get an idea if you're going to get a good time or not. And no, to my knowledge, these do not apply to the game's really hard flashback levels, which take place before the events of Crash 1, when Cortex was still experimenting and testing Crash, Coco, and apparently Crash Bandicoot. How you access these levels is very similar to accessing the death routes in the Insane trilogy, chronology, which are not returning in Crash 4. Instead, these flashback levels take their place. Basically, you must reach a certain point in their respective level without dying and collect a VHS tape, also known as a flashback tape, and you'll instantly get transported into these flashback levels. Now, I'm aware that they are present in the pre-order demo, which I have unfortunately not gotten to play, but they do not transport you to the respective flashback level upon collection. I'm not sure why, but I take it that it has something to do with the demo just being an updated version of the press demo and nothing more. Speaking of pre-orders though, if you pre-order the game at GameStop in the US or EB Games in Canada, you'll get this minute hourglass timer with the quantum mask on it, alongside the pre-order demo, which contains 3 levels: Snow Way Out, Dino Dash, and Cortex's timeline level, Ship Happens. As for other noteworthy things to mention, there will be no microtransactions in Crash 4. Toys for Bob has made this very clear already on multiple occasions, but I just wanted to bring this up anyways, in case anyone forgot or is still worried about microtransactions. Both Dr. Cortex and Dr. Engine are confirmed to be bosses in Crash 4, just going by the reveal and launch trailers respectively, and the machine that Engine's controlling is called the Weapon of Mass Percussion, or the WOMP for short. Again, I just love how clever that name is. New crates have also been added, including fire crates, which require you to wait until the fire stops in order to break them, awarding you with more Wampa Fruit. While golden Wampa crates give you 1 golden Wampa Fruit, which equals to 10 normal Wampa Fruit. Time crates show up after hitting a red exclamation point crate and only remain solid for a short amount of time before disappearing again. Kapunawa is needed to either break or traverse across them before becoming transparent again. Multiplayer has been confirmed for this game, up to 4 players, including a co-op story mode called Pass and Play, and 2 competitive modes under the label of Bandicoot Battle, one called Checkpoint Race, while the other is called Crate Combo. Essentially, these 2 are just race to the finish games, where the controller is passed on to the next person after they finish the level to see who gets the higher scores or the better times. The playable characters in these multiplayer modes include Crash, Coco, Fake Crash, and a brand new character, Fake Coco. And thanks to IGN, we now have a full look at Fake Coco's design, and to be honest, I actually wasn't too far off on the design in my previous video, so extra points for accuracy, I guess. I think the design's pretty good. I mean, it was kind of expected that it was just going to do kind of a copy of Fake Crash, except in Coco form. However, right now, it's still unconfirmed if whether or not Fake Crash or Fake Coco will make it into the game's core story. We'll just have to wait and see next week on that. And last but certainly not least, gameplay elements like the jet ski and polar sections from Crash 2 Cortex Strikes Back are confirmed to make a return in this game. And outside of that, I don't really have anything else to include in this video. I know it was already a lot to begin with, since this is pretty much everything that we have learned about the game ever since it was announced back in June. Well, outside of the intro cutscene spoilers from a couple weeks back. But speaking of spoilers, be aware that there are now more spoilers floating around than what was mentioned in the Game Informer article, as stuff has already started popping up online because of the street date being broken in some places, and on top of that, the art book managed to leak some things that I won't mention, and that is why this channel is going to be going dark on Crash 4 news and content until about a week after the game's launch, as to give you guys plenty of time to play the game spoiler free. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed the game, and for those of you who have been here ever since this Crash 4 journey started way back in June, thank you all for sticking with me for this long and for tuning into every video. It is really appreciated. And like I said, I'll be back with more Crash 4 content real soon, so you'll want to be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified when those videos arrive. Once again, thank you all so much for watching and the support. I've been Blueknight, and I'll see you guys back here next time.
What?